So, Maharshi, you have a very interesting name. So, from whom it is inspired?
Actually, my mother loved the name, uh, and so when I asked her why she loved the name, she didn't had any substantive reason like which Maharishi to say, but she just loved the name, so she kept it. The inspiration is just that my mother loved the name.
So, any Maharishis are there who are associated with forests or Aranya, as we say?
Hmm. Uh, So there have been multiple Maharshis like Maharishi Valmiki or
Hmm.
Maharishi Ved Vyas or Maharishi Sushruta. These have worked in and around forest. But specifically, who have worked on the forest? I mean, I couldn't recall right now.
So, tell me one contribution of Sri Valmiki and Sri Vedvyas when it comes to forest.
In forest,
Yes, or nature.
if we talk about Maharishi Valmiki, uh, it is believed that Sita, when she left Ayodhya, then they Sita and Love and Kush they got shelter
Hmm.
or they were supported by Maharishi Valmiki in the
Okay.
forest. Uh,
Okay.
and if we look at Ramayana, that is believed to be written by Maharishi Valmiki, the original Ramayana, then we see that there are uh, figures like the Jatayu, that is
Okay. Okay.
vulture,
Fine. Fine.
and now
Fine. Okay. So, why do you have why did you decide to go for IFS? Are you still appearing for civil services?
I haven't decided that I'll appear in the next attempt, uh,
Okay.
but I have been giving the both civil services and forest throughout this
Okay.
the four attempts that I have given.
Okay. Uh, okay. I'll be asking some forest related questions to you, right?
Sure.
Uh, who is commonly understood to be responsible for scientific forestry in our country? Who introduced it?
So it was Dr. Dietrich Brandis.
Okay.
He was the first Inspector General of Forest in the country.
Mhm.
He came from Germany. He was a renowned botanist there, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
he introduced scientific
Okay.
forest.
Fine. Fine. Um, then, do you know about silviculture systems?
Yes, sir. So I've read about them in forestry.
Which silvicultural system is being practiced in Chhatarpur?
Uh, Sir, in Chhatarpur, there are the prominent forests are the Bakswaha forest
Mhm.
that are present. They were recently in the news around the controversy.
So I'm asking very specifically about the silvicultural system. My question was not on Bakswa, right? I'll come to Bakswa. You want me to ask questions on it? Definitely I'll ask. But I would want to know. And by
Yes,
the
sir.
way, Bakswa is not a classification, right? As per champion and set, right? So I'm just asking about silvicultural system. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I was trying to say that these forests are very high quality forests, and thereby the emphasis of the forest department is to preserve them, protect them, and thereby systems like the selection system are used in these forests.
Okay. Have
The
you read
emphasis,
about this in some working plan,
no,
or you
sir.
just
So
taking a
working plan.
good guess?
No, so not a guess, but I have
Mm.
read that the emphasis of the forest department over these forests is more over preservation. So
Okay. Okay. Um, have you been to any national park or wildlife sanctuary before?
yes, sir. Sir, in last year in March,
Mm.
I went to the Dudhwa Tiger Reserve.
Okay. Okay. And what kind of fauna and flora did you observe there?
Sir, if we talk about the fauna, then one could observe there tigers there,
Mm.
then sambar deer is there, rhinos, elephants. I couldn't
Mhm.
observe rhinos and elephants. I mean, if I talk about the ones I observed, then I observed tiger, sambars. Then there were wild pigs as well that I observed. but there are other many multiple megafaunal species that are known to exist in Dudhwa,
And
and
flora? Hmm.
in flora, there are sal is there, which is present. Then teak plantations from the colonial times are still there in the forest, and then there is a local species which is Arangini species, which is grown there, and the tribals also use it for making colors, and it is a important feature in the tribal economy of uh, in that region.
Okay. So you have also studied in Kanpur, DPS Kanpur, right? And then
Yes.
you went to IIT Kanpur. What is one biggest environmental concern associated with Kanpur?
So the biggest concern, there are multiple concerns, but the biggest concern is the Ganga pollution issue, and that the
Okay.
primary reason for that is the tanneries which which are unable to meet the emission norms, and thereby the emissions which contain chromium salts, they they
Okay, fine.
toxify the Ganga river, and that has emerged as a major
Okay.
concern.
Okay. What are the steps taken by government to elevate the situation?
Sir, multiple steps have been taken. First of all, the setting up of the emission treatment plants, uh, they have been there. And also, if you talk about uh, many in the recent time, if you talk about, then many tanneries are have been shut down or have been ordered to been shut down because they weren't able to meet the emission norms that they were supposed to do. So that is there, and also in the recent months during the festive season, the government orders the leather industry to not
Okay.
operate because so these are the recent ones.
Namami Gange scheme. Have you
Yes,
heard
sir.
about it?
Yes, sir. So that is the overarching policy of the government, Nawami Gange, which has features like the setting up of or incentivization of the setting up of
Okay.
the
Okay.
sewage treatment plants,
Okay. Fine.
Ganga.
Fine. Fine.
Yes.
Fine. So I come across this playing and watching football, right? Which is your favorite team?
It is the Arsenal Football Club, which plays in the English Premier League.
Okay. And what is so special about it?
So the special thing is that when I started to follow the team, it was a team which focused on young players, and so that I used to like that they were not simply buying players from already established players. So that
Hmm.
aspect I liked about the club, and the second thing is that the playing style is very much, I mean, a very pure form of football that they try to play possession football, passing, and all
Hmm.
those things. So that makes it a very very interesting to watch them.
Okay. So who is Arsenal's all-time leading goal scorer?
So it is Thierry Henry, who is the leading
Okay.
goals.
Perfect. And which manager led Arsenal to an unbeaten Premier League season 2003-4?
Sir, Arsene Wenger.
Very good. Perfect. Right. So my last question before Mayank sir asks you this question: what is the motto of Indian Forest Service?
Uh, s- so I'm forgetting. It is something like nature. Uh,
Aranya te Prithvi something or
yes, sir.
is it okay? And you also come from Madhya Pradesh. So what is the state bird of Madhya Pradesh?
So it is the Doodh Raj. It is the Indian paradise flycatcher or Doodh Raj.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on the recent this cheetah reintroduction? Why is it called reintroduction if it was already present before?
So can you please pardon?
So what are your thoughts on cheetah reintroduction program? Can you deem it a success or what are your thoughts on?
Sir, currently it is still in a phase that we cannot judge whether it is a success or a failure. It is still in its nascent stages. But I think
Mhm.
it is a very challenging project on the outset because cheetahs, they require large habitats. They need to be acclimatized in new environment. So it is a challenging
Okay,
initiative, but
fine. There are certain parameters against which the success of the program shall be judged. Do you know those parameters? So
so
there's
the
National Cheetah Action Plan, which has been framed by Wildlife Institute of India.
sir, I haven't read the document per se, but I
Hmm.
mean, if you allow me, I can try to attempt the answer. But
Go ahead.
so it would it. Uh, So first would be that what is the number of cubs that the cheetahs are able to reproduce? That would be one parameter. Second would be that the natural mortalities should be within a certain number and should not be higher. So that natural mortality
Okay.
should be a parameter. Uh,
Okay.
then the cases of human wildlife conflict or leopard kills that might happen in that region. Uh, that could be a
Okay.
parameter of judging that whether the threat has been managed or not in that.
Okay, fine. Good. Mayank sir, you want to ask something?
Thanks.
Okay. Hello, Maharishi. So,
Hello,
have you heard about Maharishi Mahesh Yogi ji?
Mahesh Yogi ji.
Yes, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
No, sir, I haven't heard.
Okay, okay. So, do you have you heard about transcendental meditation, or do you do any kind of meditation or something yoga?
Sir, I did for few days mindful meditation,
Hmm.
but mindfulness that is said, that is just focusing on your breath for some amount of time, sitting idle. I try to do that at some moments or when there is a pressure situation. Then before that, I used to do I try to do it, but not a regular meditator. I could say myself to be.
Okay. So, do you feel benefited from that practice?
Absolutely, sir. It is beneficial
All right.
because
All right. So I can see you have mathematics as an optional, right? So
yes.
you have good knowledge of mathematics. So I just want to know how can you use your knowledge of mathematics in forest services?
Sir, there are certain specific ways in which maths becomes handy in forest management. Like there are certain fields like forest mensuration. There, maths is the major the prime field that is used. Then in now we see the climate modeling is there, and there also scientists use mathematical models to estimate the relationship between increased CO2 levels and the amount of temperature increase. So modeling in forestry or in climate sciences requires mathematical concepts. Uh, and so third, the sampling methods. Uh, they also require mathematical principles, be it the sampling method or the sampling.
All right, all right. So like you talked about modeling methods. So have you heard or anywhere that any forest service officer is engaged in some climatic modeling? Have you heard of in any states?
Sir, I'm unable to recall if
Okay,
I
it's all
have.
right. So you tell me the three most important mandate of an Indian Forest Service officer.
Uh, yes, sir. So the first mandate would be to implement the forest policy and the different laws like the Indian Forest Act, Wildlife Protection Act, uh, which are there in the forestry. So that is first mandate. Uh, Second mandate would be to ensure that sustainable forest management is brought into practice, which involves balancing the social, economical, and ecological objectives within a forest. That would be the second thing. Uh, and third, I would say that in the overall scheme of the developmental process in the country, forest officer should be the ones to put forward the point of view of the voiceless. that is the environment or the people dependent upon forest. So that role they
All
play
right.
in the overall bureaucracy.
All
I,
right,
I,
all right. So, like Maharshi, you talked a very important point about sustainability, right? So there is an increasing emphasis on sustainability, and I can see you did your engineering from aerospace engineering, right? So, so can you tell me some latest innovation in aerospace engineering, which is aimed at reducing carbon emission from aircraft?
Yes, sir. I can name two such initiatives. So one is that renewable fuels, or I would say the uh, non carbon emitting or the less carbon emitting fuels like the green hydrogen that is being used in aviation. Recently, Airbus conducted a test flight on green hydrogen, or even biofuels. Biogas is being used as an alternate fuel. So that significantly reduces the emissions in the aviation sector. And second, there are also emphasis on the design of the aircraft so that the efficiency of the aircraft that improves, and thereby the fuel requirement reduces and the emission also reduce. So one on the fuel aspect and second on the design aspect, there has been an emphasis.
All right. So, like, I'm curious that we have seen this a very common criticism of a lot of activists, like who travel via aircraft to various climatic summit, right? So they say that these airplanes, this aviation industry is one of the biggest polluter, right? Even they also impact ozone hole and in many other ways. So, do you have any data about it that compared to maybe a a car, a SUV, how much more times does an aircraft pollute or it emit? Do you have any data about it?
As a specific data, I don't have, but I know that in comparison to a car, uh, uh, the emission of an aircraft is significantly higher. That is there, but data I should
All right, all
read.
right. So, all right. So now we are in midst of this election campaigning. So, Maharshi, can you tell me what are the three most important issues for the general election 2024?
So the issues that the political parties are putting forward, or I mean,
Uh,
as a citizen.
issue for you as a citizen, right?
So at first, I would say the unemployment levels in the countries, those are concerning. The recent Indian employment report that came out 2 days back, it points to the problem of unemployment and underemployment in the country. So that is first thing. Second, I would say that uh, the the incomes of the farmer haven't increased uh, significantly, and also the rural sector is, if you look at data, the consumption trends in rural sector, they suggest that the rural economy is in a has not improved like the other sectors of the economy. So that is the second aspect. Uh, and third, I would say, I mean, it's connected to the first issue as well, that we are in a demographic dividend moment, and at this juncture, it is essential. And also, there is a rise in the disruptive technologies like AI. So we need the skilling ecosystem has to really become robust so that we can harness the demographic dividend. So these
All
three,
right,
I think,
all
should be
right,
the
all right.
focal point.
Good, right? So, Maharshi, can you tell me why was this electoral bond scheme was declared void by Honorable Supreme Court?
Sir, the primary uh, logic that was the primary reason for that is that the Supreme Court believed that the right to know of the citizens is a far more important and urgent right than the privilege of the corporates to remain of those transactions to remain opaque. So the right to know of the citizens that was put forward, and thereby the electoral bonds were seen as in violation to that right, and thereby the electoral bonds was
All
deemed
right.
unconstitutional.
All right. So my last question before I hand over again to Atharva sir. right? So like you belong to UP, right? At least your address is in UP, or even your address shows for Madhya Pradesh. So can you tell me in what months do we observe autumn season in UP and MP?
Mhm. So the autumn season is, I mean, uh, it would be around March, April, somewhere something.
All right. So how many autumn season Uttar Pradesh have?
Uh, I'm sorry, sir. I think the March, April I've wrongly said. I mean, I'm confused a bit in that particular aspect.
So all right, right. Read about it. Athar,
Uh, Mashi, you said that you are going to use your mathematical knowledge in forest mensuration and biometry, right? What is Boile's formula? Do you know about it?
No, sir. So I
No.
couldn't
Which
recall
is
that.
one basic principle that you may use from mathematics to know about the height of trees?
Sir,
No.
the principle of similar triangle
Okay.
uh,
Hmm.
that is used in estimation.
Okay. And do you know what is a working plan?
Yes, sir. So
What is it?
working plan is a document which is prepared for a 10-year cycle,
Hmm.
which sets out what procedures would shall be followed by the forest department, like what plantations would be there, what NTFP species, what. So the
Who prepares it? Prepares it?
Sir, there was a new working plan code which was brought out in 2022. As part of that, the DFO working plan has been given the duty to prepare the working plan, but that finally gets ratified. I mean, there is a entire process involved in that making. So the DFO
My question
prepares.
was who prepares it, right? I didn't ask who approves it. It's fine. What is the management plan?
So the management plan this term is used in the context of protected areas
Okay.
like
Hmm.
national parks and wildlife sanctuaries.
Hmm.
It sets out how that particular national park would be managed. Uh, so it
Okay.
is essentially a sort of a strategy document for a protected area.
Okay, fine. So that's it from my side. I think we can give him reviews, right?
I think you can leave the call, Maharshi, for a couple of minutes, and I'll text you back to
Right.
join back. Right? We can discuss for a few minutes, and then we will
Uh,
give